What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my live stream. And I have a special guest today that I will be introducing. I have a new gadget reveal for the Autel Evo 1 and 2 controller. And I also will be introducing, once this live stream is done, that very same reveal will be going on the air. And in that video, it's going to have my brand spanking new intro that I just created about last week. So I hope you guys can hear me well. I'm trying out my old headset, and let's jump into the chat real quick and see who else is here and see what's going on. We have Chad B, Hot Rod, my man, Kai, Tony. I appreciate all you guys swinging by at this point, and at 2 p.m. I'm going to have a special guest that is going to be jumping in. Most of you guys probably going to know it already. It's going to be Flytpath, the one and only Flytpath, Mr. Adlryn, who just kicked off 200K subscribers. Congrats to him. He has a great channel. If you guys haven't done so, go check it out. Definitely, it's worth it. He has a lot of DJI tech. He has a lot of other gadgets and reviews that he does. I hope you guys can hear me. So if anything, give me a heads up. What's up, Ricky Britton, Johnny F? I appreciate you guys swinging by today, and I'm super stoked. This is like a new achievement for me. I have a huge name in my live stream today. I'm gonna have a lot of fun today. Plus the reveal of a gadget that is actually not on the market officially yet. I am the only one who has one. I am, besides the creator, of course, and I'm looking forward to freaking sharing that damn thing with you guys. It's really, really, really great. So yeah, and plus this wire is way longer. As you guys can see, it wraps all the way around over here. So I'm going to be actually able to move around freely. So this is my last live stream for the Thursdays. After this, it will switch over to Sundays because my new day is off coming in. Plus, I have a nice little gig that I have to attend this coming weekend, so I won't be online this Sunday for a live stream. So the first live stream that will be going on is Sunday, the 13th of September. And I hope I see you guys all over there. I really appreciate all of you guys. We're almost there at 2,000 subscribers. We're like 1,940. I mean, who counts? I do. And definitely, I really appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. Hot Rod is one of my main contributors to finding out new things, so you guys can thank him as well. He has a cute little channel too, and he uploads some nice, really, really nice composition videos. They're short, but they're in detail, and they're really, really good, and I really like that. So definitely, I mean, hey, if anything, go check it out. And Tony Wise, audio is good. Yeah, thank you very much. And then we had Hot Rod. Flytpath is why I have the Evo 2. I saw his video before I saw Dobos. Yeah, Flytpath has an amazing channel. I don't know. He does so many reviews. He has a full-time job. He has kids. He does all these reviews. I don't know how he does it, but he wings it, man. And we're going to get to ask him those questions. And definitely, I'm going to look forward to that. Until then, we will just have to hang a little bit, cruise with each other. And I hope you guys going to have a great Labor Day weekend. So you guys going to be able to, yo, Walter Hall from LA. Definitely celebrate the people who still are working right now. All those who got laid off due to this whole COVID stuff, I'm really sorry for you guys. But hey, stay safe. Right now, we have a huge COVID-19 surge over here on the islands, which is really, really, really bad. And I think it's because people are actually getting tested. Before, I think people wasn't getting tested. Flytpath did all the OA stuff first. Yeah, Flytpath is one of the original birds out there that is like, besides Drone Valley and all those guys, I mean, Flytpath in my eyes is a huge, huge, huge influence on my channel too. A lot of things that I did, lighting setup and all that stuff, and how to actually approach a review on certain things and all that stuff was all because of Flytpath. And Adlryn is a super nice guy, down to earth, and he's super, super nice. And he actually has family, I believe, in Hawaii as well, which he regularly visits. So, but I appreciate you guys all swinging by. Pretty soon, I'm actually going to hit monetization as well, because we're way past 1,000 subscribers. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to jump onto the monetization train though, because I think affiliate links do the best, and I don't really care for ads in my videos. So we'll see how that goes. I'm definitely going to get rid of this StreamYard logo over here because I'm going to subscribe to StreamYard because I really like their service. I also have a new camera coming up, or more like a gadget that I'm going to be able to hook up to my computer, and I'm going to be able to film or to live stream from my Sony camera. So the picture quality should go up as well. Let's see what's going on in the chat over here. I keep missing out. What do we have? Have you had a chance to try the new Autel Explorer update? No, it's still in the beta, and I'm a huge non-beta flyer due to liability. So I don't suggest anybody flying anything with the beta. If somebody wants to, go for it. I heard the 1.6.5 is pretty cool though. But I haven't tried it out yet. I also saw it with Flytpath first. Big reason why Autel decision before Ken. Yes. What's up, JR? Cool, we get 17 people watching. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce to you guys my special guest, the one and only Mr. Flytpath. You show up as muted, my friend. Can you hear me?
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you're unmuted now, my friend.
This is it. We're live, huh?
Yes, we're live, my friend. I totally appreciate you coming by. I'm stoked. I don't know what to say, man.
Oh man, my pleasure. How's the audio? Every time I jump on a stream, I'm always like, oh man.
Nope. For me, the audio is great. I can hear you perfectly fine. Michael R. Hot Rod, how's the audio for Adlryn? What do you guys think?
How is it, guys?
Audio seems fine.
Test. 1, 2, 3. Test. Let's jump on.
So what do you have planned for this weekend, my man? It's Labor Day weekend. It's a long weekend, so guarantee you're gonna be off on the next couple of days.
Oh God, yeah. This week has just been brutal. I mean, definitely looking. Hey, yeah. You know how it goes. There's no day off, so it's more of just like what are you gonna do with the kids? I guess the kids just went back to school this week, so it's been a rough one as far as getting all situated with all the virtual stuff, and but it's good. It's a trial and error for a lot of people. A lot of teachers are getting situated. So
tell me about. I think this whole COVID stuff is gonna make us realize and appreciate the teachers so much more.
oh my gosh, yeah. Just today, I have to be the teacher to my daughter, and then watching 20, 15 kids, and having the teacher just have it. Oh man, the patience that they have on there is insane.
Yeah, I'm driving crazy already with my 3-year-old when I tell him, okay, you got to follow this line, and then he goes somewhere else, and I'm like, no,
sure.
This line.
I know, right?
You're just throwing things around already.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Move some stuff in the office here. Just a bunch of stuff like miscellaneous. I just have no more room. This is just a regular small room in a way, and just trying to cram stuff in here, but it's all good.
Become more and more of a warehouse.
Dude, I can't wait till one day I can get to that point where, I can use a garage or something like that to convert it all. So hopefully we'll see.
So I had a couple questions for you. Since you've been so long in the business, you just hit 200,000 subscribers, and life's going crazy for you on YouTube right now. What did actually bring you to YouTube in the first place, or to fly drones in the first place, to start making videos?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I started back in 2013. I mean, if you guys have, for those that haven't followed me, I started back in 2013. Like a quick summary, right? 2013, I ended up getting like an action camera, like a GoPro, and then I got like a GoPro probably like in the summer or end of summer that year. And then towards the end of the year, Thanksgiving comes around, and then all of a sudden there's a B&H, selling a Phantom 1, and it says all you have to do is hook up your GoPro to it. I'm like, all right, I just got a GoPro, perfect time. Bought a Phantom 1 for $400, and put it on there, and threw it up in the air, and then you're just like, no way. You know what I mean? Like that was it. I mean, just like any new flyer nowadays, you're just like, are you kidding me? Like you could do this, you know, and you can throw a camera up there. And I don't care if you're 50 feet up in the air, 100 feet up in the air, but you're seeing something, you know, that you've been around your entire life, but it's completely new. And you get hooked real quick. And just like anyone else that gets into it. And then I got hooked real quick. So I started doing that, then ended up, you know, just, you know, connecting with a lot of, well, actually I think about not a lot of people at the time because no one was really in it. There was a couple of people I know that are still in it today, and I'm still in good contact with them, which is really cool. And but that's about it. And when I didn't even think about YouTube, you know, for a while, until, you know, I just started getting into more of the space of like getting new gear or trying a new backpack and, you know, buying a new case. And then I'm like, you know, I'm like trying to look up stuff on YouTube, and I'm like, there's nothing here. Of course, it's still so new. You know, there's definitely some people throwing some information out there, but I'm like, all right, well, no one's talking about this bag, so let me just put it up there, right, and see what happens. And then, yeah, my very first video, it was literally, and it's still up there. It was posting a propellers on my Phantom, whatever, Phantom 1 or Phantom 2, like some new propellers. And I'm like, oh, throw it up and see what happens. But, you know, and it got like a crazy ton of views. But I was never in the mindset of this is like a path, right? It was just like everyone else. I'm just going to throw it up on YouTube. And there was no sense of like, there's a business, there's this and that behind the scenes. And no, it's just like everyone else, just throwing up your family weekend video and having fun with it and going to a beach and posting up some beach videos. Then that was it. You know, for a few years I did that. Then all of a sudden I'm like, all right, I think a lot of people, when you start seeing a lot of the content, you know, quote unquote content creators really doing stuff and more information out there about how you do things on the space and what you need to do and how you level up and how you can monetize and how you can make it a business. Then I'm like, all right, well, maybe this year is like 2017. I'm like, all right, let me take this thing a little bit more serious. And that's when it kind of things started changing a little bit. When you start to look at it as more than just the, hey, I'll post up a weekend video. You know, a lot more goes into it, and you start understanding it more. So, yeah, I always kind of say when people ask me when I started YouTube, yeah, I had YouTube for, you know, since 2014 or whatever it was, but technically, I would say I didn't really start thinking about YouTube as the way it is I am now until April 2017 is when I really kind of flipped the switch and go, all right, let's see what it's about. And I started, you know, understanding a lot more.
So, name on your channel always Flytpath, or what?
Yeah,
you come up
yeah,
there?
it's always been that. I came up with it with my coworkers. We took a lunch break, and I told them like, hey, dude, I'm just gonna do this. You know, I want to make this a brand. I want to make a YouTube channel, a website, everything. And this is, you know, however long ago, 6-7 years ago. And I'm a designer, so we spent our lunch break whiteboarding, and you know, a bunch of us just started geeking out and writing up a bunch of things. And you know, how do we, you know, do a play on words, but I don't want to be too cryptic, and I don't want to too obvious, and you know, so a lot of those things as a designer, you kind of look, you put them up there, then you scrap them real quick. So that was it. That's kind of how it spawned. I've always been the type of person that would normally just, you know, put a not necessarily put it under my name, but put it as like a little, as its own thing that can stand alone, because I never know what it's going to be into. And this is kind of where it's led to up to now. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, what makes you think these days? We have one question from JR. He's asking you, will you make more videos with Evo 2 Pro and ND filters?
Absolutely. I just did some updates on my Evo 2 Pro. I've had the freewheel filters actually for a while now. It's just a matter of putting it in the queue. I think there's so many, you know, you get a bunch of things and you're like, okay, you know, and if you guys don't know about YouTube videos, if you really want to produce it, sometimes, you know, a quick 5-minute video can end up taking you a week if you you know, just a matter of how much time you have and how much tweaking you want to do with it. Some videos can take you a week, some videos can take you a day, and then you come to find out that those day videos do a lot better than those week-long videos. But you know, it's in the queue. There's a bunch of things. I have about 3 or 4 topics on the Evo that I've been meaning to get to. I've actually shot so much stuff in the past few months ago that I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to make a video here, and then no, it just kept sitting on my drive, and I'm like, all right, now I'm like, I have to like go back to those things as like B-roll now because it's been so old. But yeah, no, for sure. Long after short. Yeah, more Evo stuff's coming, and things I think people would really connect with of why the Evo is still a very solid platform to have, especially nowadays.
We have Chatty B asking Flytpath, how do you organize your workflow when creating a video?
Definitely a lot of things. I mean, I try to do things quickly as far as doing a quick outline and my talking points. I mean, every video you do, you're not going to be able to cover everything. You're not going to be able to hit all the main points or all the points that maybe somebody wants to hear. You just have to hit the points that I think that the balance between what you think is the most beneficial and then also what what an audience might want to see, right? You want to talk about, even when I talk about some of the new drones, I mean, you can't go through, or even like the gimbal, you can't go through every single spec in one video, right? So you cover the highlights of what you benefit from the most from it, and I think you have to have that in there. If not, then you're just running off a spec sheet. And I think there's not much. It's not much uniqueness to your video if you're just literally running off of a spec sheet. You have to put it to like, hey, this is why I use it, and how it benefits me, and it might be different for you. So I think that's how I kind of go through my workflows. It's just bullet pointing those main things. And every channel, there could be 100 drone channels, but everyone's going to be different. So
yeah, I realized for mine's one, when I come up with ideas, that I actually start filming and I start going through the progress. I actually realized afterwards it's easier to film everything first and then start rolling backwards from everything that you have experienced in order to start doing the head talk about it. Before, I used to do the head talk and then follow up with the B-roll after. And it was actually more hard because then I totally forgot what I was saying in the head talk because I don't do bulletin boards. Everything is free flow for me.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell did I just talk about? What else do I have to do B-roll? Now, if you do the B-roll first, because it manifests in your head because you just did everything by hand, and then you're going to be able to head talk way easier about it. So that's the way I do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, whatever works. I think you'll find a way. I mean, I've done both ways, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's each video, man. I swear, it's you're like, oh, I perfectly outlined. I think I know what to talk about. Then you're like, you forget some stuff. I mean, some things you just totally gloss over, and you have to go back and shoot it, and it doesn't match up. But you're like, you know what? It's YouTube. You just got to put content out there that's relevant, and that people can benefit from.
So Hot Rod is asking, Flytpath, do you have or do you use the Life Deck?
For the Evo?
Yes.
I have it. I don't use it.
Short and quick.
Yeah. It's sitting there in the case. I haven't had a need to. I haven't had a real need to at this point. When I fly, I just normally go up and do what I have to do. I don't. For me, minimal gear is something I don't. I try to deal with. It's already hard enough to get out there and fly. The last thing you want to do is worry about things.
So trying to get out of there and fly. Did you hear the news about the Amazon drones?
Yeah. I mean, we knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. It's inevitable. And I think it's definitely a big topic for a lot of the hobbyists out there, and what we're going to have to deal with. What can we do? I'm a big believer of you can control what you control. And there are things that you're not going to be able to control. They're gonna have us abide by certain types of rules eventually, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, we're already dealing with some of that stuff as it is, so we'll see where it goes.
To get to my reveal, I figured I'm gonna wait until the big man is in my channel as well. I was contacted by a company to have the lift door mount. So
this company, huge mount on the Evo, right?
Yeah. So this company created a mount for the Evo 1 and 2 controller, actually.
Yeah, that's it.
To have like a phone and a tablet mount to it. So the video to that review will be posted right after this live stream. But they send this thing, and it is actually made out of PETG plastic, and it's super, super durable, and it feels great to have this controller in his hand just the way it is, because the arms don't fit. And you know what's the best part? There's a button bumper plate in the bottom.
Oh, there you go. So you don't keep
touch the buttons no more.
Right.
Great. So after this live
Nice.
stream, guys, this video will go online. I got permission from the company to actually post it.
Yo.
And this is pretty much the very first. I'm one of the first people to ever own this, which is I'm
Yeah.
stoked.
Heck yeah, man. I
And
mean, I've seen that before. They had it. Yeah, they had it for the Evo 1. I never got it though. I never. Like I said, anything that, man, I like mounts. Trust me, I love my mounts, as you guys probably have seen on my videos. But sometimes, like, it's just one of the, like, when people talk about mounts versus smart controller, half of me is just smart controller because it's just like I don't deal with anything. But I love mounts, and that thing does seem like a little beast.
it is. It's super cool. It's super easy to use, super easy to install. It took me like 5 minutes to install it.
Yeah.
And I've been using it for the last couple of days, and it's freaking amazing. It's so great, and it's so solid, but it's light as hell, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't really add a lot of weight to it. It has these beautiful little hooks in the front. You can hang it up to your lanyard, and the coolest part is you have that 1/4-inch screw underneath, and you can just
Tripod.
put a mini little tripod on top,
That's
and you
dope.
just stand it up. Done deal. So totally stay stoked for that one, guys.
Yeah.
After this live stream is gonna go live, and the video, you guys gonna be able to check it out. So it's gonna be pretty much the direct alternative to lift door. Instead of having the metal stuff, it's gonna be like
Yeah.
the PET plastic. So, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be. Look who we get in the house over here. We get Drone Worship just checking in from the hospital, probably, because
Oh,
I know
man.
I've seen that he's in a hospital or something like that right now. I hope you're doing better, brother. So yeah, and then the I seen on yours, you just had a couple of days ago, you announced a giveaway for the DJI. What was that? The mount?
Yeah, Mav Mount. I had some giveaways for that, and yeah, most of my videos are normally always have something they're giving away because I always try to work with some of these companies and say, hey, man, some of these products, they could be very, I guess, they're pretty inexpensive. So I'm like, hey, I need to give my audience something, like, I mean, I'm not too worried about getting views and all that stuff, it helps. But I mean, for me, it's like, if you can just show something and then give it back to the people, and then that's what it's about. So yeah, I have a Mad Mount one. I have a couple other giveaways, some action camera stuff. I mean, anytime I normally have a product review, I will normally try to get a second set, and I always give those out. So
I'm
yeah,
scared now. My wife just showed up in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Babe, this is men talk right here.
But how about you? What's the plans? What's going on this weekend? What do you have plans besides the mount on the controller? What else we have coming up?
Besides the mount of the, I'm gonna have to film the firmware update stuff for the Evo 2 because the firmware is not downgradable. So Hot Rod just went point me into the right direction. I'm gonna do a review on that one. Gonna try it out because I didn't try for hours and days at a time to try to roll back this firmware because the 2.50 was so buggy, and I tried to set it back to 2.33. I tried uninstalling. I tried all kinds of stuff, but it's pretty much like reverse engineering or flashing the drive itself. So I'm going to be looking into that one. And besides that, it's pretty much today's my daughter's birthday, so we're going to have dinner tonight, and then I got to do a driver's license renewal because my new schedule requires me to drive afterwards for work. And then this weekend is going to be actually my first weekend off, and I'm hoping to get some motorcycle time in with my wife.
There you go.
Depending on if we get one babysitter or not.
Yeah, right.
So, but other than that, it's a lot of quality time with the family because as a correctional officer, you don't really get to see many of those, and you'll just try and make it work somehow.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, now that you keep talking about this firmware update, maybe I won't do it on my Evo. I'm gonna do some other stuff. I'll leave it alone.
Yeah. The 2.50, it's buggy for some people, and some people totally don't have no problems. So
yeah,
I'm not quite sure what is the impact on it or what influenced it. Why it is that some people, I have the hovering issue. Like once in a while when she stay in ADI mode or when the GPS is really low that I only have like 6 or 7 satellites, she seems to just hover. We're off, and she just go on her own. And I'm like, I'm not even touching the sticks. What's going on?
that's always been a kind of an Evo thing, though.
Yeah, and I mean, every drone sort of like has bugs. There's always something going on, and I mean, I don't mean to trash talk this bad boy. I love this drone. I mean, to upgrade from my Parrot Anafi right here, that was my very first drone. And then as soon as I flew this the first time and I checked on the footage, and I'm like, Whoa.
Yeah.
Like, which brings
No,
me to
no.
the
If
next
you
question
the
for you.
Pro for sure. I mean,
Oh yeah, that 1 inch
when,
sensor.
yeah. I mean, I got the 8K, back in January or what? I mean, December. And I think it was the first one that came out that was, everyone's talking about the 8K and all the, how it's actually the sensor size and how it's actually technically doing the 8K. And you put them side by side. It's a good marketing thing, right? It's definitely a good marketing thing. And but when you take that usable footage or take that footage, you're not seeing enough, compared to the something like the Pro. I put the Pro up in the air, and I'm like, oh man, okay, now I feel very Mavic 2 Pro ish, So that people always wonder how much of a difference there is, and there's definitely a big difference with the quality between the two cameras. You just can't look at those marketing numbers and think it's better. You got to look at what's really behind it, and that's that larger sensor.
So the one thing that I've seen right now is the trend. Plenty of the original drone reviewers and stuff, all the quadcopter, helicopter pilots, they're all starting to revert to FPVs. That's something that you're looking into, that you're interested in?
Yeah, I mean, I did it a long time ago, and I have a bunch of small little tiny whoops. I have a bunch of small stuff here at the house, and played with that before. Even we had a local company down here that they made their own. I mean, I've had a lot of that gear from before. I just never dove into it like a lot of people have, which I think I eventually will a little bit more, especially now there's so many ready to fly kits out there. And it's not so much I don't want to get my hands dirty. It's just also I have to also look at my time, right? And I think knowing it and doing it, I think of course that's where it's going to be most beneficial, just to have that knowledge around it all. But I just don't see yet that I have the need or desire to commit to it, mainly because I'm already having enough trouble getting time to fly a regular drone. Now to think that I'm going to go out there and do that and break and repair, then try to do some other things. I mean, it's definitely on the list of things I want to get into a little bit more, practice a little bit more, but not just yet to go like, hey, you know what, I'm going to switch it up. But no, more power to everyone that can, right? I think it's just another extension to it, to what we do. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of progress in original Dobos one. Like when he first started, it was really jaggedy, and
oh yeah,
nowadays he has a nice flow to it. It looks great. I mean, I'm not quite sure if I ever gonna get into it because it's a money pit. So
yeah. I mean, it definitely can be. But I think if it comes to the point where it's just a little bit more, I would say, ready to fly. Things are more accessible. I mean, before it was actually a lot more fun when I got into it first, because I had a drone company here, local, that stocked everything. I mean, Newbie Drone is here in San Diego, but we have we actually had a couple like smaller stores that stocked everything. So if you did something went wrong, you're able to kind of get it quickly fixed and things like that, and you have people to fly with. But I think it did change when my perspective did change when I saw like the DJI goggles and it went digital. I mean, that the analog thing kind of like, oh man, it was definitely a harder thing to get over, right? When you're so used to seeing 720, 1080p downlinks when you're flying something to go analog.
right.
So,
right.
So yeah, I think it's in the works. I mean, it's there, but I think I also have a lot of other things that I'm going to be doing that I'd like to dedicate that time towards right now as more of a priority. So
yeah, sometimes I'm looking at this Evo 2 Pro and I'm thinking to myself, one of these days, a couple of years down the road with the development of FPV, these type of drones going to do the same thing as the FPV drones do.
Yeah.
Just bigger scale, and you're going to have a 1-inch sensor. And so if there's any improvements on the Evo 2 that you could suggest that you would see different, what would it be?
The biggest, when people always ask me the biggest difference between the Evo and the DJI is I say the exact same thing. I'm not 100% confident with it where it's in the air, right? And we always talk about the drift and things like that. I think maybe people have different experiences with it, but when you do notice it, you notice it, right? If you're out there, and especially if you're out 1,000 feet away, you're not looking at it. Let's be honest, you're not watching it in the air. You're watching your screen to an extent, right? And if you could see the movement in your screen, then it's moving up there. And I think that was the biggest thing is if they can just enhance their flight characteristics a lot more to feel a lot more fluid and feel more confident with it being locked in place, then I think that's the biggest game changer. Because I think anything you fly, the only thing you worry about now, you just worry about the drone, right? You just worry about the how solid it is it responding to my controls. I think we're past the point of thinking that the tech's going to be bad, or we're having a flyaway, we're having a issue with it. I think now it's just like, okay, can I trust it there, right? The DJI stuff you trust sitting in the air. Evo stuff it's there, it's close, right? And I think, but you just have a little more of these little nuances that you're going, ooh, why do I screen black out? Like, I remember DJI had that problem, but that problem was also about 3 years ago, right? Like some of you have those interference things, and you're like, oh, black screen and disconnection, weak, or interference, and you're like, that can be. I'm line of sight. I'm only 1,000, 1,500 feet away. Can be, right? So I think those small things, they add up. So I think once they start cleaning a lot of that up, it'll be solid. I think it's solid for sure.
Yeah, and development has been reaching a peak over all these years. I mean, look at this technology these days. I have barely heard about flyaways anymore.
Yeah,
it's just random dropouts out of the air or whatever. But plenty guys, I think they lie about their stuff too. The way they fly, and then they blame it afterwards on the technology. Sure. But they actually ate it. You know what I mean? They flew the wrong way. I see the hover issue the most, actually not when I'm high up or further away. I'm seeing it the most when I try to do like fly through shots, and I try to keep the drone as steady as can, and then all of a sudden she starts veering off, and even half a foot, because you have all these bushes and trees next to it, it's huge, and you're like, no, and then this
like I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a controller or I have to recalibrate but exactly the same way I did when I did that Evo comparison, Mavic Air 2 Evo 8K comparison, and I literally put my drone right above a street, right, and it's just straight away, and I just said full throttle forward on the Mavic. It went straight forward. 8K Evo up there, full throttle forward. Next, like the street just kept moving this way. I go, no. This thing is as dead center as it possibly can. And I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if it's just I didn't recal my remote, but like things like that, you expect it to be on point, right? And I think that's where it was. It was like, oh, got to bring it back, got to reshoot that one, and then there's no way that I am right above a straightaway and it cannot veer off that much. So I think things like that, if they really, really finesse those things, it'll come back around.
Definitely. I sure hope they hammer, especially with the quality of that 1-inch sensor.
Yeah.
And then now with those ND filters, it makes a huge difference because you can keep the shutter speed at the right point. And it's like my videos came so fluid, and even clients have mentioned afterwards, like, it looks great, like totally great. So it's like, whoa.
And you have the flexibility of the aperture, and I think that's a thing that especially when you can play with that and you have that control over it now. So if you put in any filter that might not be strong enough, at least you can stop it down. Things like that. It really helps when you fly something like the Pro versus the 8K. You just don't have that flexibility where you would technically almost need to bring it back, swap out the filter, So people don't really get the fact that you have that middle ground. You have, some stops in there to play with if you can dial it back in.
So Johnny K asked, do you guys think Autel would give us a smart controller?
It'd be nice, but I wouldn't even. It'd be nice. Don't get me wrong, it'd be nice for sure. But I don't think that's the issue with what they should be focusing on. Right, in my opinion, it'd be nice, but what's a smart controller going to do? Is that going to help the flight characteristics or not? Then if you said yes, then absolutely. If you're telling me the issues in the remote, then yeah, let's do it, right? But if it's not in the remote, then you're telling me I have $1,000 remote that veers off, right? Yep. I'd rather have a regular, standard remote, but it's on point. So Yeah, it'd be nice to. Absolutely. I love my smart controller. I just wish it was an iOS smart controller, not an Android smart controller. But other than that, I like it. As
Yeah,
far
one of
as
these
the
days
mounting.
I'm gonna get me a DJI drone. If I can ever convince my wife to spend the money on it, I'm gonna get me a DJI drone so I have something to refer to in comparison to the
Yeah.
Autel. And one of these days I'll get there. But I called Autel during the time because I was trying to do that live streaming. So according to some sources online and in the manual and based on Autel's references, it is required that you have 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel. So you're going to be able to link up your YouTube channel
Got it.
to the Autel app. So there's a live button in the general settings. Once you activate that, you have to log into your YouTube, which I did.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
there's just regular how you create a live stream, and it's going to ask you for your credentials. It's going to tell you, oh, what is your title, what is the description of the video. Every single time I press the button for go live or create broadcast, and it gives me a failed message.
Right.
After trying it out for like a couple hours, several hours, actually almost like 4 hours, and getting so frustrated that I just simply waited until a couple of days later and I called the Autel support.
Mm-hmm.
David answered. As soon as he answered, I told him about my problems, and he simply stated that it might be a problem where YouTube does not accept the stream sent from the Autel drone because you don't necessarily have to be in the air. I took it as that. At the end of the conversation, I asked him, one question on the side, do you guys work on a smart controller, something like the DJI has? And he said, I can neither confirm nor deny, but I heard rumors that there was something in the works.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all I can tell you guys about it. So that's pretty much from that, just throwing it out there.
That's good.
And hopefully they're going to be working on it. So, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, and, but, yeah, it's not much I can say. I hope so. And, it's always nice to have new products, but just like everything else, it's great to talk about, but until it's out there and you're shipping properly and it supports there, that's a big deal. I think that's a really big deal, that making sure that not just releasing products, but making sure that those products are getting. I mean, people complain about DJI updates all the time. I get it, but what do you want them to do? Not enhance the drone? I mean, it comes with, it's just like doing a phone update. It's like they're not doing it to make it worse. I mean, yeah, it might be some weird bugs here and there that they have to, do another fix on it. But I mean, that's just the nature of software at that point, right?
Yeah. So based on watching your channel and seeing that you have, because you're not only just specified for drone tech, but you do a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Based on that, what is your criteria to choose which product to review, and how much is it influenced based on that is either sent to you or given to you? Are there limitations, or are you just free to do what you want?
Almost everything I do, and I'm on my channel, I will right away tell anyone that's wanting to do it, even if they want to sponsor it or not, is saying I'm going to be brutally honest with them. There's no perfect product. So, unless it's blatantly said, this is some sort of sponsored video from the company, but I don't think I've had that completely. Have I? I don't know. I think I might have one. I had one, but it was, then it turns into like an ad, right? I think it was literally like the PGY Tech backpack, and I'm like, I'm promoting the PGY backpack. I mean, they sent it to me to help promote it, right? But I mean, all the other stuff. I mean, the DJI Osmo 4. I mean, the Osmo Mobile 4. I mean, it's not perfect. It's still big. I said it right away. I'm like, I'm surprised that they didn't slim this thing down. They sent me the.
Same size as a 3. Yeah.
So I mean, if I didn't say anything, I mean, it's then, take it for what it is. I mean, that's not true, right? So yeah, when I get stuff, I'll say like, hey, this is what I think about it. And I mean, I love Polar Pro. They have the best products in the world, but their tripod was the worst thing I think I've seen in a long time. I just couldn't believe that it actually went to market. And I hate to say that. I love them. They have the best filters. They have a lot of products. But the tripod thing was like, what, did I miss something? And I'm like, no, this can't be right. And then I went to everyone else's reviews. They're like, same issue. And I go, how did it make it to market? Right? Now, if I glossed over it and like, oh, it's the best. No, there's no way. So I think, when it comes down to, for me, like anything I do on the channel, I'm using it, or I think it's definitely going to benefit something. It might not be drone related, which I know the hit I'm going to take. I'm going to get a couple of views, versus 1,000 views for drone stuff. I get it, but I'm also, a consumer, right? And if I'm using things like I'm using a Rode mic and I'm using this, not sponsored, right? But at the same time, you're using things, and sometimes I'm just like, it kind of fulfills me to just be like to be able to talk about it. And I think, however it does, it does. If you were just going for the numbers, I would just produce Mavic Mini videos until I die, right? If I was just going for numbers, but that's not going to make me happy. That's not going to satisfy what I feel like I want to do. So I talk about the gear I use, and people send me stuff, and people deny a lot of stuff, or I'll say, hey, send it to me, but I'm not going to commit to a video until I can see if I use it and I like it, then that's where it works. But it's funny. The reason why my office is trashed, boxes, right? Like boxes of gear. Ulanzi sent me that thing. I'm not going to lie about Ulanzi and the wide angle lens. It was horrible, right? I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm not going to be like, this is the best wide angle, buy it. And then you like, dude, you're like, what a scam, right? It's not that it's a scam. It's just maybe they needed to recalibrate the lens or redo something. But yeah, everything on the channel is stuff I use. And I think that my audience, it might be a smaller percentage of it. They might benefit from it.
Mine's one started off with the Insta360
Mm-hmm.
I watched a big influencer on YouTube, and they promoted this product, and they were like fully convinced about it. There were no issues whatsoever. As soon as I got this thing, I had so many issues with it that I was so mad that I told my wife, I'm going to make a video about how bad this camera actually is.
Yep.
And I did it. And as soon as I did it and published it, I actually was bold enough to post it on their website as well, and their forum on Facebook. It took them an hour and a half that they contacted me right off the bat and told me, we're going to change out your product, and we're going to send you a brand new camera because you might have had a malfunction issue whatsoever. They sent me the new camera, and certain issues were still there, but they added on all these accessories, extras, in order to get around all this other stuff, and it fixed most of them. And then now with new software updates and stuff, it fixed it all. But apparently it took a video like mine in order to make the product do it. So I told them, I said, when I do the review or when I'm going to do something, so they didn't want that I'm going to be brutally honest about it again. So I told them, okay, I'm going to make a short film just using this. Is that okay? So therefore I got around this whole, this camera is awesome, versus being a sellout, and I just was able to use it for the short film itself.
Yeah.
And then they contacted me after, hey, if you want to make a brutally honest review about it, we're cool with it. You can do it now. And I was over it. I was like, okay, I've done that already once. You know what I mean? So you guys send me all these extra things. So if a consumer has to buy all these extra things, it's not worth my time. Because if I suggest to buy this Autel Evo 2, but you have to buy this to make it that awesome, it's not worth it, man.
100%.
So, and that's
it's funny because you brought that up, because I actually had it, and I'm actually still, working with Insta in certain circumstances, right? I mean, they, I help them with certain things, as far as like, even like right now, like I think they'd have a promotion. They're like, you want to help us with a promotion? Absolutely. It's not, I mean, they're a great company. I know the people behind the scenes. I know what they can produce. I know what they have produced. They're a great company, and they're great people. I know some of the people that are there came from DJI and some other big companies. So I know those people. They're great people. But yeah, I mean, I had the Insta360 at CES, right, in January, but never really fully came out with a video, because even it was no one's hiding the fact that there was a lot of bugs with it, and there still is. But in my video that I did, which is a kind of a gloss over of like my experiences with it, I said what it was. It's definitely a great thing if you don't have any cameras, right? If you don't have one, like an action camera and a 360, and you're kind of getting into it, it'd be a great purchase for $400, 400 plus. You get both, awesome, right? I mean, that does kind of compare to like something like maybe a GoPro Max or something on those lines, because it's waterproof. So I think for the price, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But I use it the most for 360 if I'm going to use it. But then, I really love their Insta360 One X. If they just literally updated that one and gave it like quadruple battery life and did that, I love that. It made it waterproof and LCD screen I could read.
Yeah.
Dude, that would have been it. I would have been
Plus
super happy with that.
they had that super cool like a dart that you could put that thing in, and
Yep.
while you throw it through the action, you was able to track the subject, and it was super cool. So I figured I'm gonna try to do the same thing. And you know those hamster balls?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I actually mounted something in there like with a hamster ball, and I kicked the hamster ball.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of the mounts broke, and then the
There
camera
you
was just wiggling around inside. But I figured it out afterwards, and it actually came out pretty good, except for I had like small kind of blurry stuff because get all the plastic around it. But if they could come up with something, because this thing, the 360, if it eats it and it slides over the ground, it's the lens is dust. It's horrible. So.
And the one thing with that, compared like I said, with that compared to the 1X, the 1X you can actually keep like on a helmet or on a shorter stick, and you get a lot better because the distance of the cameras are so much less. Where this one, you have to you got to stick that thing out there, right? You got to put it out there 3-4 feet for you to get a real good shot without it being seeing that stitch line, right? So that's why I like the X, because it was able to it was so slim. I just wish it was waterproof and lasted longer.
I know that you stay on a time limit. I don't want to hold you up any longer. I totally appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, I still got like maybe another 5 minutes or so. Or if anyone has more
sounds great. Let me know when you're gonna go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of new guys that actually are flying these days and stuff. Is there any tips that you would like to give them when you first start out? Things to think about before going?
Yeah, don't if you're flying a GPS drone, don't get too confident. It's super easy to, right? It's super easy to get super confident because you're like, oh my God, it's so easy. You just throw it up, it stays there. And that's where things go wrong, right? I think that's where things go wrong because, yeah, it's easy, but I mean, unless you've actually flown and you understand orientation and things like that, it gets real complicated real quick because people get way too confident. And especially when you first get it, the first thing you want to do is throw it up as high as you can. And you think you're like, 2,000 feet up in the air, but you're really like 200 feet up in the air. But don't get too confident with it. I think it's a very easy thing to feel like you can master, but I think everyone knows that's been flying. You need stick time to really feel comfortable with it, and don't shortcut things, right? Those little things add up. Right? People just take off. Look how cool I am picking off from my roof of my car. I'm like, ooh, loving that compass calibration on that. Like, oh, what's that? Like those little things that people don't realize add up. Taking off from the top of a parking garage, and I don't need to do the compass, or it's giving me a red, but I'm still going to take off. Not a big deal. There's a big deal. Those are things that can make or break your day, right? So take it easy, do basic stuff. Just keep it nice and close, line of sight, a couple 100 feet up in the air. Every time you go out, extend that another 100 feet, extend it another 100 feet. But I would say, just take it to a park and whip it around, but understand the orientation. Orientation is what really crushes everyone. They'll put it up in their house, and then next thing you know, bam.
Biggest trick in that whole thing is let go.
Yeah.
Don't panic the buttons.
Yeah. No, the one thing I hear all the time, man, is I really wish I would have watched this video because I just bought it. I put it up in the house. It started beeping like crazy, and I tried going away from the wall, but I ended up going into the wall because it's facing you, and so I'm like, that's like the number one tip, guy. Go outside. I don't have GPS. I'm like, you get all the comments, right? I got this drone. I got no GPS signal. This thing is. I'm gonna return it. I'm like, and I'll reply back. I'm like, what's happening? They're like, yeah. So I'm trying. I just got it. I just unboxed it. And I'm here in my room, and I'm like, there you go. I mean, there should be a big card. There should be a big card that says, please take this outside. I don't know why they don't do that.
They actually did on mine's one.
Did they?
I don't know if I still have it, but it had a white card, and it showed a house, and it had the drone in it, and it had that big red circle with the bar. Do not fly indoors. And I was like, yeah, definitely not gonna fly this indoors because I have way too many obstacles and ceiling fans. And
but that's the thing with obstacle avoidance, right? So you can launch it, and it'll feel everything, right? It'll sense everything, which means it's not going to go forward, it's not going to go back, it's not going to respond because it's locked there because each direction it's feeling something
in the way. Yeah.
So then you're like, here it goes, it's drifting, and you're like, it's not moving, and then and then that's it.
And then
So-
you hit the arm lean of a chair or something, and
That's it.
it should just go.
So
That's why they
yeah.
have those tiny little drones that you can fly indoors that have
Yeah.
those nice propeller guards all the way around, so you don't take out your wife's eyes or something.
Yeah, newbies for sure. And I still feel like a newbie when I go out there, man. I mean, because you just don't know these days, right? You're like everything's changing so fast. Like you feel, I feel like a new flyer every time I get out there because the tech's always changing, something new is in the drone. So I get excited about it. But I mean, yeah, man, just take it outside, just take it easy, real easy with it, because I think that's the biggest thing. So people get, it says it can do this. You're right, it can, but
hold my beer.
But yeah, it says I can get 5 miles and I'm only getting 3. I'm like, what? I don't even fly 3 miles. What are you doing? Like half a mile is super far away. I don't think you realize how far that is.
Yeah, and how long it takes for that thing to come back.
Yeah.
And how far you have to walk if it doesn't come back.
Yeah. I know. My biggest thing is make sure you have one of your quick switches to point that camera straight down. So if you know exactly, if you got to go down, you got to find a spot. I feel like David Blaine yesterday on the balloons. I'm like, you better find a spot, David. You're coming down. You better find a spot. You better find
a problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that I noticed throughout all these years watching all these quadcopters and all that stuff, back then when it first started, it was how high, how far away, and the shots were super good. Mm-hmm. And then nowadays, throughout all the development with all this stuff, the range gets huger and bigger, and the height and the speed. Mm-hmm. But actually, the most cinematic shots are super smooth, super slow, and they have foreground, subject, background. And it's like how close you are and how low you are. And it's like, okay, so that defeats the purpose of having 18,000 feet range. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to fly this thing past 500 feet sometimes. I look at my shot. I'm like, oh, this is the shot that I want. Line it up, go back and forth slowly a couple of times, and then I line up the shot, and then I actually shoot it. And then I forget to press the record button.
There it is. I know, man. And that's the thing. I think a lot of people, take that too literal, right? Of how far something can fly. But like I said, when people always ask me what's the best drone, I go, it honestly doesn't matter, man. You could get some amazing stuff if you know how to do composition, you know how to shoot, you know how to edit, you know, to tell a story. It doesn't matter. You're not going to know. At the end of the day, you're not going to know what drone that was shot with, if it looks amazing and if it's shot well. But yeah, you don't throw it up there. You're not going to shoot a downtown skyline looking down, and people think you will, but you don't, it's not a helicopter shot. You want to see skyline, you want to see, things like that.
Yeah, he just wrote over here, what's his name? Only Gaming and Drone Flying just said, people who send their investment that far are just crazy. That is exactly my thinking.
Yeah.
I work so hard for my money to get these things, and it's like, no ways I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't think you realize you're dangling, $1,000 on a frequency. You know what I mean?
And
like I'm old school.
That, if you go like beaches or you go like public places or or like streets, you close to it, you keep forgetting that if this thing drops out of the air and this has some weight to it and it hits the windshield of somebody, a family in the car, you're gonna ruin not only your life, but you're gonna put on a jumpsuit that matches your drone.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of people get drones too. They want to be able to show it off, and I'm like, that. Honestly, that's the last thing I ever want to do. I don't want to be seen. You don't want to be noticed. Yep. When you go fly, when I fly, I look to find a little cubby hole next to a tree and post up right there under the tree where no one's at. I get the fact there's a lot of cool factor to it, but you got some people out there that want to be seen, and I'm like, that's when it's dangerous. When you see those people like walking through. I stopped by this roller coaster thing on the way to Big Bear, and there's a guy in the park about to launch his Mavic, like in the park, and like we're sitting at the benches where they sell food, and he's literally with a Mavic, and I walk up to him, I'm like, hey man, you gonna fly that thing? And he's like, no, they said I couldn't. I'm like, you literally brought it in the park. Are you gonna launch it in the park? Of course they're gonna say no. I mean, I'm like, bro, you could have just went across the street and threw it up in the air, and you could have been. That's it. Like, no big deal. The dude brought it into you walk in the park. You're sitting next to me. I'm eating, snacks, and you're like, your drone is laid out on the table. I'm like, unless you were hired, cool, but no, he's just a regular flyer that just wanted to fly right in the middle of the park. I'm like, of course you're gonna say no. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I get it that you really want to have a shot, and I totally get it that it's gonna be awesome to film, make an orbit around a roller
For
coaster
sure.
that is going at that time. The problem is the dangers that are connected with it, and if
Yeah,
it's not permitted, the biggest issue is if it's not permitted and you don't have your
exactly.
107 and you don't have the permission from the park and all that stuff, besides criminal charges and all that stuff, you're gonna ruin it for the rest of the people who
Oh
actually
man.
want to abide the FAA rules. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's like pretty much like me. I go through like 3 apps before I even think about flying this, and we have so many airports over here and so many flight restrictions. I just try to be in the right part and try to do the right thing because
for
I'm
sure.
also public with YouTube, and I don't want to show off. Oh, I'm going to fly 2,625 feet if I just because I can. No, I'm not even allowed to do it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
I mean, yeah, I can go 100 miles an hour with my car as well. Am I choosing to do
yeah.
so? No. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Like,
got a lot of feedback on that. How come we don't do range tests? I'm like, well, I need like 3 people to do it, like, and I need to go drive like, an hour away or 30 minutes away to feel comfortable to say, where can I fly somewhere that I need 5 miles, like, and I'm just like, I'll leave it to the people that can, the people that live like, in the middle of the fields that can do it. There's a lot of those people, and there's a lot of people on YouTube that can do it. I'll leave it to them. I'm not trying to stretch what I can do for the sake of, like I said, for the sake of the view. I'm not going to stretch it out that much. If there's a lot of people that have that do that stuff, and more power to them. They have the land to do it. I don't
yeah,
have the land to do it. So
I never really got the hang for that kind of stuff because I'm not quite sure what is the purpose on it because
yeah,
I don't know.
it's just
I
testing the
wouldn't do it.
spec. That's all. That's all it really is, right? And what
Yeah.
sucks is the fact that like every situation is different. So there's no point in really. I say, great, if it's rated for 5 miles, that means I can confidently take it out a mile with no issues, right? That's how I look at it. But I mean, what are you not going to fly a mile in the city? You're not going to fly 2 miles in the city. You're going to fly 3 miles in the city. So I mean, even if it's rated for 5, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I mean, people just want to, they want to be able to test out those specs.
Yeah, mine zone would be 5 miles down the road here, and then would have ocean. So
Yeah, I mean, you can do that. You can always test it out right over the ocean, and let it just whip it out there for 2 or 3 miles. You're not going to hurt anybody except for yourself if it doesn't come back.
yeah, that happened to one of my parents' companies. It literally like took off, and I was like, oh, I want to do a range test, and I literally just flew at 100 feet, and then I was thinking about it, and I just let go for my controller, but I looked at my screen, and the drone was still going, and I'm like,
yeah,
hello, and I pressed the return. Nothing. She just kept going, and then before I knew it, I lost video feed, and I couldn't even see it anymore. But she never returned, so she's somewhere in the water.
I had when I had the Phantom 2. I think that was the last time I had like a major flyaway, but I flew it in a major like radio interference, and I'm like, it's not responding, but I see it going, and I'm like, this is it.
That's the worst. Yeah. That's the worst feeling ever. It's the worst feeling. What is the most? Here's one last question for you before you gotta go.
Yeah.
What is the most embarrassing drone moment you had that you wish nobody would have seen?
It was that time when I put up. I think it was a Phantom 2. I put it up with because back then you had to actually read the lights, right? So there's lights on your drone. You actually have to look at it to see if it's green, if it's yellow, and what the sequence is to know if the drone got GPS signal or not. There was no monitor, there's no screen. So it was, oh, let's go fly it. I'm here. Put it right up, straight up in the air, straight up, right harder into like 10 people watching. Oh, I'm gonna go fly right into the tree because no compass calibration, just went straight up and boom, 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 boom. And the next you know, like back then too, the gimbals were in pieces, like because I had like the H2 to H3 gimbal, and that thing just right on the ground, like a GoPro with all the gimbal parts, and I'm like, oh my god, dude, that was it. Like it just, it like feel like it exploded when it hits the ground. Nowadays it's all like kind of nice and tightly packed in there, but
yeah,
that was it. But yeah, I just got thank you so much. I actually just got my notice. I gotta go. But let's do this again for sure. There's too many topics for us to cover in one thing.
Hey, that's all I could think of at the moment when I figured he just said he's going to show up he's gonna come, and I totally
Yeah,
appreciate you coming by. I'm a huge admirer of your channel. I follow everything that you put out there,
same
and
here. Same to you, man.
I really
Definitely.
appreciate it.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad I got connected with you last month or so. I mean, there's definitely a lot of stuff. Like I said, there's so many people out there that we're in the same space, but the angle everyone comes at is completely different. And I think that's what's so beneficial about all of our channels is that, we all bring something different, whether it's, our opinions or just locations, everything's different.
Yeah. And then I know that you have family somewhere in Hawaii too. So
Yeah.
I hope this COVID stuff is over soon, so you're
For
gonna get
sure.
to see them again. And
Absolutely.
if you do come, let me know, and then we're gonna hook up. We're gonna do a collab and just fly stuff together and just cruise, have the kids run around in the yard, whatever it is.
Yeah, I got to head over there. Well, I'll meet you at another island too. We'll go somewhere else, just for a getaway.
We go meet in Kauai.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Kauai is a place I still gotta make it because I heard there's some killer spots to film.
I got to go back to all these spots that I went to before because I never had a drone. I never had an action cam back then when I went, and now it's like Nepali coast.
Yeah. All right, my man.
Thank you so much.
Easy. Be safe, and thank you so much.
Awesome. Let's do it again. All right, guys. Take care, everyone.
There we go. Adlryn from Flytpath. Let me throw the link back inside here for you guys one more time in the chat. So that was Adlryn from Flytpath. And I totally appreciate that he took the time to come. And I appreciate every single one of you guys who actually just came by today to just check it out. Shall it be for Flytpath? Shall it be for me? It doesn't matter. One person, two person, three people. Even if it's just a single person in the chat, I will be happy that you were here. And I seen a lot of people saying hi and all that stuff. I just was unable to answer all these things throughout the chat. But if there's any questions, I'm going to be on for another couple minutes and then just shoot a question into the chat. I'm going to try to answer it. Besides that, I'm going to show this off one more time. This is actually the reveal for another tablet phone mount that is made by a company that contacted me, and they sent it to me. This is one of the very first things to be mounted to a Evo 1 or 2 controller. There's none other out there like this, and it is I totally love it. It's really great. It's a super cool feeling. It gives this controller like a professional feel to it. And right after this live stream, I will publish the video that has the review of that very same mount right there. It's going to have all the links, the availability, everything is going to be inside there, and you're going to be able to check it all out within that video. In that video also is my brand spanking new intro that I just created over the last week. And it took me about a week to create that intro because I figured the old one was so worn out already. So I figured I'd make a new one. And then let's see what we got here. Show us that mount. Want to see the back of the controller. You want to see the back of the controller. This is the back of the controller right there. And it's nice and snug, guys. It's like it fits, everything fits like perfectly. And then it also has, like, if you don't want this wing, if you want to be able to fold in these handles and stuff, it has another locking plate that belongs in the front over here. It removes this wing, and you're still going to be able to fold it all up. But check out the video, definitely. I don't want to take away too much of it. And it comes also with like those tablet mounts that you can put on top, and it's super easy to remove everything. Like I like literally, like this one is my phone mount. I can just, where's my phone? Oh, right there. So you can literally just throw the phone in there, or you turn it around and you have, I think this is for the smaller versions, but you have the tablet mount for this. And it's super easy to just switch it out. Like I just unscrew it like this while talking story with you guys, and I'm going to be able to just take this off, put this back on, and it's super fast. Like, it's convenient. It makes the controller feel good. The best part that I like about this is how it protects the antenna as well if you don't have any range extenders and stuff, but it also has possibilities for crystal sky and everything else. So there are mounts available that you can purchase on that website. So just stay tuned for that video right after this. Check it out. Like I said, I want to take away too much in my live stream. I want you guys don't watch my video. No? So what else do we have? What's the distance from the back of the controller to the mount? The distance is barely any. There's, I don't know, what What distance you mean? You mean like in between here? This one? Backside? This part has barely any room. It fits snug perfectly, but it leaves enough room in the bottom over here for the vents to blow out air. So, and it has possibilities to mount like the range extenders and all that stuff on top. Does the mount support this crystal sky? Yes, it does, Tony. Price, you will have to check it out on the website. Wondering whether I could mount my Alien Tech without an extension. Probably, most likely. Yeah, my Alien Tech might fit without the extension. And price, and where can we get it? You will have to wait for the video for that one. I'm sorry. Like I said, I don't want to take away too much, but please do me a favor, go check it out. We've been online now for a little bit over an hour, and we had the almighty Flytpath with us. I really like the guy. He's so nice. He's so cool. And I really, really, really appreciated him to take it like short notice, because he literally just was emailing with me back and forth. I'm hoping to get Paul Feinberg in here, the co-host of Original Tobo's channel, one of these days, probably by the time that I switch over to Sundays. So stay tuned for that one. And yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. And I really appreciate all of you guys who use my affiliate links to buy stuff on Amazon. Just to let you guys know, it's not going to cost you any extra. And even if you don't buy anything that is in my link list, as long as you end up on the platform itself, I will get credited for it. And I had a few of those already. And it's nickel and diming. It's like 20 cents here, 20 cents there, $1 here, $1 there. But it accumulates up. And that's actually how I was able to finance all the budget review for the budget accessories that is going to come out as soon as the last parts come in. But because those parts are so cheap, the shipping takes like 6 weeks, 7 weeks. This other item is on its way like since 8 weeks already. So I hope I'm going to get it soon so I can send it all out for you guys over there. Some of the cheap budget stuff is what I'm going to suggest to you guys to purchase, and some of the stuff is total rubbish, and I'm going to tell you which ones those are. And yeah, are you going to chat about that link I sent or do a video on it? I'm going to do a video. Hot Rod actually sent me a link about the firmware downgrade. It's like a flashing software. And I think somebody in the chat earlier stated that it is on that Autel forum. And if you want to post a link inside here, you can post a link in here for the forum if you wish to do so, Hot Rod. Hot Rod found it for me, and I'm definitely going to check it out right after this. And I'm going to try, if it works out for me, I'm going to do a video about it, how to roll back your drivers with that flash bin that came out in that forum. I'm going to credit the forum as well for that one. Thank you a lot for that one, Hot Rod. Hot Rod always watches out for me, always looks out for me, and he always checks out in the comments for me. I'm super grateful for that. GR, awesome live stream. Awesome session, Tony. Yes, it was awesome. I'm totally stoked. This is actually one of the biggest career steps in my YouTube career, you can call it, because I had somebody with 200,000 subscribers in my channel. I mean, who else can say that? You know, so is it hot this week there? Yes, it's freaking, I'm sweating like a crazy guy. It's like 100 degrees right now. It's really hot, and plus there's no wind. Everything is like literally standing still. Plus the window is closed because I didn't want the dogs to bark into my microphone. So it doesn't work. Tried 3 times, went through download, and still 2.5. Good luck trying. Yeah, I'll try it out, LDS, and if it works out great. If it doesn't work out, oh well. So I loved it today too. So let's cut to the chase, and I'm gonna publish the video. Stay tuned for that. Give me a minute to publish the video, and then please check it out and let me know in the comments below what you guys think about it. I appreciate all of you guys. Don't forget, COVID-19 is still out there. Be a nice human to everybody. Wear your mask. Wash your hands. Take it easy, everybody.